Actually, that's an interesting story. We met, basically, she had gotten in some trouble with some ex-boyfriends, and they didn't like that, so they tied her up to a railroad track. And,
We met on Match.com.
it was out west, and I just happened to be there one day, and I saw her tied to the right railroad tracks, so I rode up on my white horse.
We started talking in December.
Scooped her up, rode off with her, and the train came whizzing by. So if I hadn't got her, basically, she would have been crushed underneath the wheels of the train.
And then we didn't have our first date until January. We did have one date. Oh no, our first date wasn't until February.
Our first date, well, after that, of course, we wound up talking online for probably about a month and a half or so, and I think we set a couple dates, but neither one of them worked out for us for whatever reason. I'm sure she'll tell you more about that.
We had one date in January that I had to cancel because I was sick. And then we had another date that I got all dressed up for. Ben said he would call me after work, but I didn't know what time that meant, and I was on break from school. So at like 3 o'clock, I was like, ooh, I don't know, he lives a half an hour away. He could call anytime. So I got dressed and ready and kind of just hung out around my apartment. My roommate wasn't around, so I was just kind of waiting. And then finally he called kind of late, around like 6 or 7, and then we ended up talking on the phone for like 2 hours, and he never invited me to go anywhere, and then he hung up. But I guess I still gave him another chance, because we set up a date for February. It was the day before my birthday.
It turned out to be her birthday was the day after the day of this first date, so that was fortuitous. I think that might have had something to do with us making that date in the first place.
Well, I didn't want to go. Nothing against Ben, I just was so busy and had decided I didn't have time for dating anymore, but I'd already made the date, so I felt bad canceling. All of my dates through Match.com, they had to be somewhere quick, like coffee, and I don't know, there was no drinking on first dates, just all these little rules that I kind of threw out the window for Ben. And so, and I don't know why, I just decided, I'm just gonna be myself. And so I went on the date, and we met at a restaurant.
Our first date was a place called Bahama Breeze.
I don't remember the name of the restaurant.
It's called Bahama Breeze.
Oh, I can picture it. It's so bad.
Bahama Breeze.
No.
Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze.
Yes, we met at Bahama Breeze.
I think she was 5 minutes late.
And then when I remember I saw him, and he was leaned up against the wall, and I was just like, alright, maybe this date won't be so bad. Like, he's pretty good looking.
But, I mean, right from when she walked in, we kind of hit it off. Like, yeah, we talked well together from my second one. It was pretty amazing. But it was a good dinner.
And then I remember sitting down at the table, and just the whole evening just going so easy. He was actually really funny, and I just remember laughing and being very easy. And we both ordered drinks, which was one of my rules. I never did, but I ordered a drink and he ordered one too. And we were at a Caribbean restaurant, so they were fun island drinks.
I had got a pina colada, and it's sort of a girly drink. She had a really big red coat on, and it was kind of, I don't really know the name of the material, but it was sort of it's like a coarse material, like a coat material that isn't very thick. It was like
He was very cute.
a big red coarse coat, and it kind of looked like, it was dressed up, but not dressy dress up. It was like a going out coat. So that kind of struck me right away.
I remember him being very tall.
Why did she choose that coat to dress up in, sort of thing? Like
As soon as he saw me, he smiled, and
I don't know how much, knowing her now, I'm not exactly sure how much thought went into choosing that coat.
now I know that's just Ben's smile, but it was just so endearing.
It was definitely a going out coat, but it was not the sort of going out coat that I had been used to seeing. At that point, I we're going out a lot, so I was pretty familiar with what going out coats usually look like. This was a little bit different. This had its own twist to it. No.
I don't remember something that he said, but he did get me a present. It was the day before my 22nd birthday, and I guess I had mentioned that probably a million times before, just because I always make birthdays such a big deal. And so about 3/4 of the way through the date, he was like, oh, by the way, I got you a present, and he took it out of his jacket, and he handed me a chocolate bar, which he's a chocolate expert, so he made sure he got me the best Scharfenberger chocolate from Trader Joe's, and it was just really sweet. At the end of the date, another one of my rules, no kissing on first dates, but somehow managed to give each other a very awkward kiss on the cheek.
And then when we were walking back to the cars, which are on a parking garage underneath this place, she gave me a kiss.
Well, I guess he said later he never kissed on the first date either, so I guess it was, we went to lean in and give a hug, and then I guess we both decided we would kiss each other on the cheek, but...
And I was kind of surprised, because like we were still in like mid-stride, and she kind of reached out and kissed me. So I tried to kiss her back, but she had already like turned, so I wound up like sort of kissing her ear.
You know, his lips, cheek, ended up being on my ear. So it was just awkward. In a good way, I guess. But I don't know if I regretted it. It was just like, huh, I wonder what he thought of that.
It made an impression on me.
And then I remember running away to my car, but I wasn't really running away from him for any particular reason. I guess I was just so excited that my reaction was to run. It wasn't like, get me away from him. It was just, woo! And off I went, running away to my car.
So I think it was probably the day after, maybe 2 days after, we made a date for Valentine's Day.
He called me next, as I recall, and I think he called like 2 days later or so. And so the date was like on a Tuesday, or it was probably on a Wednesday, actually now that I think about it. And our next date was actually Valentine's Day, so it was the following Tuesday. So I think he called that Saturday or so. But he never asked me if I wanted to go out with him on Valentine's Day. He just made the date for Tuesday, so I wasn't even sure if he knew it was Valentine's.
It's a good feeling to have a date on Valentine's Day, so I wanted to make sure that we had a date on Valentine's Day.
Well, my mom knew about him before I met him. I had shown her his profile online, and then my sister came in to visit, I guess that weekend for my birthday, so the weekend of our first date, and I remember telling her about him and showing her profile online, his profile online.
After the date?
Mm-hmm. My sister was after, but my mom was before.
I had no idea. Maybe we should ask one of my parents when that